Let me tell you what happened to me years ago. I was the nicest guy you could meet. Everybody liked me, but nobody respected me. Nobody valued me. And most importantly, nobody chose me. You see, being nice is like having a good product with terrible packaging. The content is valuable, but the presentation diminishes its worth. Most nice people don't understand this fundamental principle. Here's what nice people typically do. They give away their value for free. They don't understand that what comes with no price often carries no value. When you're always available, you become invisible. Let me share something powerful my mentor told me. He said, Jim, don't be valuable sometimes. Be valuable all the time. But make that value rare. That's profound, isn't it? Most nice people confuse kindness with weakness. They think setting boundaries means being mean. Champions understand that boundaries aren't walls. They're filters. They don't keep people out. They filter out the wrong people. You know what's interesting about boundaries? They're not about keeping others in line. They're about keeping yourself in line with your own values. Nice people often forget their values trying to accommodate others. Let me tell you something about accommodation. When you constantly accommodate others at the expense of yourself, you're not being nice. You're being negligent. Negligent to your own worth, your own needs, your own growth. Here's what most nice people never grasp. Respect isn't earned by being agreeable, it's earned by being valuable. And value isn't just about what you give, it's about how you give it. Most nice people give unconditionally. Sounds noble, doesn't it? But here's the problem. They give without context, without framework, without standards. They become human vending machines, always ready to dispense whatever others need. Let me share something crucial about giving. Giving isn't just about the what. It's about the when, the how, and most importantly, the why. Nice people often give for the wrong reasons. To be liked, to avoid conflict, to fill a void. You see, there's a fundamental difference between giving from abundance and giving from scarcity. Nice people often give from scarcity, from fear of losing people, fear of conflict, fear of being alone. But here's the irony. That's exactly what makes them end up alone. Here's what fascinates me about loneliness. It's not about being alone. It's about being disconnected. Nice people are often surrounded by others, but deeply disconnected because they've never connected with themselves first. Let me tell you about self-connection. Most nice people are so busy trying to connect with others that they've lost connection with themselves. They don't know what they want, what they value, what they stand for. You know what's interesting about standing for something? It means you'll stand against something else. Nice people are often afraid to stand against anything. They want to be universal donors of approval. Most nice people have become emotional chameleons. They change their colors to match whatever environment they're in. But here's the problem. When you blend in everywhere, you stand out nowhere. Let me tell you something profound about standing out. Nice people often think standing out means being offensive. But that's like saying the only alternative to whispering is shouting. There's a whole spectrum in between. You see, most nice people operate at the extremes. They're either completely passive or they explode. They haven't learned the art of measured response. They don't understand the power of calibrated communication. Here's what fascinates me about communication. Nice people often think clear communication might hurt someone's feelings. So they wrap their messages in so many layers of niceness that the message gets lost entirely. Let me share something that changed my life. My mentor said, Jim, clarity is kindness. Confusion is cruelty. Most nice people are actually being cruel by being unclear, by not saying what they mean, by not meaning what they say. You know what's interesting about meaning what you say? It requires courage. Nice people often lack courage, not because they're weak, but because they've never exercised their courage muscles. They've been too busy being agreeable. Most nice people have developed a fascinating habit. They apologize for existing. They apologize for their opinions, their preferences, their needs. They've turned apology into an art form. Let me tell you something about apologizing. When you apologize for everything, your apologies mean nothing. It's like printing too much money. It devalues the currency. Nice people have devalued their words through excessive apologizing. Here's what champions understand about apologies. They're for mistakes, not for existing. They're for genuine wrongs, not for having opinions or needs or boundaries. You see, there's a fundamental difference between being apologetic and being responsible. Nice people are often apologetic without being responsible. They say sorry, but don't change their behavior. Let me share something powerful about behavior. Your behavior trains others how to treat you. Nice people often train others to take them for granted, to disrespect their time, to ignore their boundaries. Most nice people have become emotional doormats, not because others forced them, but because they laid themselves down. They've confused serving others with surrendering to others. Here's what fascinates me about service. True service comes from strength, not weakness. It's a choice, not a compulsion. Nice people often serve from weakness, from fear of rejection, fear of confrontation, fear of being alone. Let me tell you about fear. Fear is like a compass pointing to where you need to grow. But nice people often use their niceness as a shield against their fears instead of facing them. You know what's interesting about facing fears? It's not about being fearless. It's about being courageous. Nice people often wait to feel fearless before acting. Champions act while feeling afraid. Most nice people have developed a dangerous habit. They've outsourced their happiness to others' approval. They've become emotional satellites orbiting around others' opinions. Let me share something crucial about approval. When you need approval from others to feel good about yourself, you give them the power to make you feel bad about yourself. Nice people give away this power freely. Here's what champions understand about power. It's not about dominating others. It's about governing yourself. Nice people often can't govern themselves because they're too busy trying to please others. Let me tell you something profound about pleasing others. When you make pleasing others your primary goal, you become a professional people pleaser. And here's the irony. People pleasers rarely please anyone, including themselves. You see, there's a fundamental difference between adding value and seeking approval. Nice people often confuse the two. They think by seeking approval they're adding value. But here's what they don't understand. Approval is an effect, not a cause. Here's what fascinates me about value. Value isn't about being available all the time. It's about being valuable when you are available. Nice people often sacrifice quality for quantity in their relationships. Let me share something my mentor told me that changed everything. He said, Jim, don't try to be nice. Try to be necessary. That's profound, isn't it? Nice is common. Necessary is rare. Most nice people have become emotional ATMs, always ready to give emotional currency to whoever asks. But here's the problem. They never make any emotional deposits for themselves. You know what's interesting about emotional banking? Just like real banking, you can't give what you don't have. Nice people often try to give from an empty emotional account. Let me tell you about emotional bankruptcy. It doesn't happen suddenly. It happens gradually, withdrawal by withdrawal, yes by yes, compromise by compromise. Nice people often don't realize they're bankrupt until they're completely drained. Here's what champions understand about emotional energy. It's like any other resource. It needs to be managed, invested, and protected. Nice people often treat their emotional energy like it's infinite. Most nice people have developed a dangerous pattern. They invest in everyone except themselves. They water every garden except their own. Then they wonder why nothing grows in their life. Let me share something powerful about growth. Growth requires space. Just like a plant needs space to grow, a person needs emotional space to develop. Nice people often don't give themselves this space. You see, there's a crucial difference between being alone and being lonely. Nice people often fear solitude so much that they accept any company, even company that diminishes them. Here's what fascinates me about solitude. It's not the absence of people, It's the presence of self. Nice people are often so uncomfortable with themselves that they can't stand their own company. Let me tell you about self-company. If you can't enjoy your own company, you're not ready for the company of others. Nice people often use others as a distraction from themselves. Most nice people have become emotional chameleons, changing their colors to match whatever environment they're in. But here's what they don't realize. When you blend in everywhere, you belong nowhere. You know what's interesting about belonging? It's not about fitting in. It's about fitting with. Nice people often try to fit in everywhere instead of finding where they truly fit. Let me share something crucial about fitting. When you try to fit in everywhere, you end up fitting in nowhere. It's like being a square peg, trying to fit into every hole. Round, triangular, hexagonal. Here's what champions understand about authenticity. It's not about being liked by everyone. It's about being real with everyone. Nice people often sacrifice their authenticity for acceptance. Let me tell you something profound about acceptance. When you accept yourself, you teach others how to accept you. But nice people often reject themselves first, before anyone else gets the chance. You see, there's a fascinating paradox about self-acceptance. The more you accept yourself, the more others accept you. But nice people do the opposite. They reject themselves, hoping others will accept them. Here's what fascinates me about rejection. Nice people fear it so much that they reject themselves preemptively. They become their own worst critics to beat others to the punch. Let me share something my mentor told me that changed my perspective forever. He said, "Jim, the world doesn't reject you. It reflects you." That's powerful, isn't it? The way you treat yourself sets the standard for how others treat you. Most nice people have developed what I call the discount mentality. They're always on sale, always offering themselves at a discount, always ready to negotiate their worth down to nothing. You know what's interesting about worth? It's not determined by how much you give, but by how much you keep. Nice people often give everything away and keep nothing for themselves. Let me tell you about keeping. When you keep nothing for yourself, no time, no energy, no boundaries, you become an empty vessel, and an empty vessel has nothing valuable to offer. Here's what champions understand about value. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. Nice people often try to compensate for low self-worth by giving more quantity instead of improving quality. Most nice people have become emotional slaves to others' opinions. They've handed over the remote control of their happiness to everyone else and then wonder why their emotional channel keeps changing. Let me share something powerful about control. When you give others control over your emotional state, you're not being nice, you're being negligent. You're neglecting your primary responsibility, yourself. You see, there's a fundamental difference between being responsible and being reactive. Nice people are often reactive. They let others' moods, opinions, and actions determine their responses. Here's what fascinates me about responsibility. It's not about taking blame. It's about taking charge. Nice people often take blame, but rarely take charge. Let me tell you about taking charge. It doesn't mean becoming aggressive or unkind. It means becoming intentional about your life, your choices, your relationships. Most nice people have become what I call emotional firefighters, always ready to put out others' emotional fires while their own house burns down. You know what's interesting about emotional fires? Just like real fires, they need boundaries to be contained. Nice people often remove all boundaries in the name of being nice. Let me share something crucial about boundaries. They're not walls to keep people out. They're guidelines to keep respect in. Nice people often confuse boundaries with barriers. Here's what champions understand about respect. It starts with self-respect. If you don't respect your own boundaries, time and energy, nobody else will either. Let me tell you something profound about time. Nice people treat their time like it's infinite, but treat others' time like it's precious. They'll drop everything for someone else, but feel guilty taking time for themselves. You see, there's a crucial lesson about time management that nice people often miss. When you don't value your own time, you Teach others not to value it either. It's like putting a freeze tag on your most precious resource. Here's what fascinates me about resources. Nice people often act like they have unlimited emotional resources. They keep giving and giving, but they never stop to refill their own well. Let me share something my mentor taught me about emotional resources. He said, Jim, you can't serve from an empty vessel. Most nice people are trying to pour from empty cups, wondering why nothing comes out. Most nice people have developed what I call the doormat syndrome. They lie down so others can walk over them, then wonder why people keep walking over them. They've confused being walked on with being walked with. You know what's interesting about relationships? They're like dancing. It takes two people moving in harmony. But nice people often do all the adjusting, all the accommodating, all the compromising. Let me tell you about compromise. There's a big difference between healthy compromise and self-sacrifice. Nice people often sacrifice themselves on the altar of others' convenience. Here's what champions understand about sacrifice. It should be strategic, not habitual. Nice people often make sacrifice their default setting, their automatic response to every situation. Most nice people have become emotional martyrs. They suffer silently, wear their pain like a badge of honor, thinking their sacrifice will eventually be recognized and rewarded. Let me share something powerful about recognition. When you don't recognize your own worth, others won't recognize it either. Nice people often wait for external validation instead of providing their own. You see, there's a fundamental difference between being valued and being valuable. Nice people focus on being valued by others instead of becoming genuinely valuable to themselves first. Here's what fascinates me about value. It's not about what you do for others. It's about what you become in the process. Nice people often do everything for others while becoming nothing themselves. Let me tell you about becoming. It's a process that requires space, time, and investment in yourself. Nice people often give away all their space, time, and investment to others. Most nice people have developed what I call the permission pattern. They're always asking for permission to speak, to feel, to exist. They've outsourced their authority over their own lives. You know what's interesting about authority? When you give away your authority over your life, you become a passenger in your own journey. Nice people often end up in the passenger seat of their own lives. Let me share something crucial about leadership. The first person you need to lead is yourself. Nice people often try to guide others while having no direction for themselves. Here's what champions understand about direction. It's not about where others want you to go. It's about where you need to go. Nice people often follow others' directions while ignoring their own internal compass. Let me tell you something profound about that internal compass. When nice people ignore it long enough, it stops pointing altogether. They become so focused on others' destinations that they forget their own journey. You see, there's something fascinating about journeys. Every great journey requires saying no to 1,000 smaller trips. Nice people often say yes to everyone else's trips and never begin their own great journey. Here's what fascinates me about decisions. Each time you say yes to others when you should say no to yourself, you're making a decision about your worth. Nice people make these decisions thousands of times without realizing it. Let me share something my mentor told me that changed everything. He said, Jim, loneliness isn't about being alone. It's about being disconnected from yourself. Nice people are often the most disconnected because they're too busy connecting with everyone else. Most nice people have become what I call emotional investors in everyone else's life while being bankruptcy in their own. They're building everyone else's dreams while their own dreams collect dust. You know what's interesting about dreams? They don't die from rejection. They die from neglect. Nice people often neglect their dreams to help others achieve theirs. Let me tell you the ultimate truth about being nice. Being nice isn't wrong. Being nice at the expense of yourself is. It's like trying to heat the whole neighborhood by burning down your own house. Here's what champions understand about transformation. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens by decision. Nice people need to decide, will they continue to be nice, Or will they choose to be valuable? Most nice people need to understand this fundamental principle. You don't end up alone because you're nice. You end up alone because you've abandoned yourself in the process of being nice to others. Let me share something powerful about change. It begins with a simple realization. Being nice and being valuable are not the same thing. Being nice is about pleasing others. Being valuable is about growing yourself. You see, there's a way to be kind without being weak, to be strong without being harsh, to be generous without being foolish. It's called being authentic, and it's what nice people need to learn. Here's my final thought about this journey from being nice to being valuable. It's not about becoming less kind. It's about becoming more authentic. It's not about caring less. It's about caring right. The world doesn't need more nice people who end up alone. The world needs more authentic people who can truly connect, first with themselves, then with others. People who understand that real connection comes from strength, not weakness, from authenticity, not approval seeking. Remember this. Your worth isn't measured by how much you give away of yourself. It's measured by how much of yourself you've become. Stop being nice. Start being valuable. Stop seeking approval. Start seeking growth. Because at the end of the day, the choice isn't between being nice and being alone. The choice is between being authentically yourself and living a life of quiet desperation. Choose authenticity. Choose growth. Choose yourself. And here's what's most profound. When you finally choose yourself, when you finally value yourself, when you finally become authentic, that's when you'll find you're no longer alone. Because authentic people attract authentic relationships. That's the ultimate irony. The path to meaningful connection doesn't start with being nice to others. It starts with being true to yourself. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the most valuable lesson nice people need to learn. Thank you for your time. And remember, your life will change the moment you decide to be valuable instead of just being nice.